Welcome to Cognitive Neuroscience. This is a tutorial that's showing you what we're going to be doing for the first lab on Wednesday. The point of this lab is just to familiarize you with running scripts in RStudio and Matlab, which should both already be installed on the lab computers. So for the first lab, you'll be following along with this Google Doc, and I'll be showing you the steps that we'll be going through for this. So for the first part, we're going to be running a script in RStudio, and you'll need a file that is in Canvas. You can follow this link here, and you will download this RSR zip file. And then that's going to end up in your downloads folder. If you have trouble finding that in your downloads folder, just remember you can sort by date added, and that will put the most recent files at the top. So I think it's a good idea to keep things organized in a special folder for this class. So I've made this CogNeuro folder for myself. And so that's where I'm going to put this RSR file. And so it's zipped, which means we need to unzip it in order to use it. So you can just double click on that and it will pull out that folder. Then you can throw away the original zip file. And if we take a look in this folder, we can see we've got some data sets in Excel, we've got an R script, and we've got this RProj file, which we'll talk a little bit more about in a second. So now I'm going to open RStudio in my applications folder. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to File, and I'm going to open Project. And then I'm going to go to my desktop, to the CogNeuro folder, and I'm going to open this RProj file. And what that means is that it's essentially just opened the folder that has all the files we need. So as you can see, there's no script open yet, but it's sort of set up our environment for us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go over here. Now these files have popped up, and you're just going to click on res.r, which is the script we're going to be using. Okay, and so this should look familiar if you guys have used RStudio before. So over here we have our script. Down here, this is our console where we'll end up seeing some output from the script. This is our environment where we might see some variables pop up later. And these are the files that we have access to at the moment. So in order to run this script, I'm just going to select everything. And another way you can do that is if you do Command A, that will also select everything. And then I'm just going to hit the Run button. And then you'll see some output in the console. And the last thing you should see is this ANOVA table. And so we don't really have to worry about what this means yet. We're just really practicing running these files. But it's still a good idea just to kind of scroll through the output. And you might notice there is this red text here, which we don't really have to worry about for today. So not all red text is necessarily going to be bad. So that all looks good. And then the next step will be saving the output. So what we're going to do is we're going to now go to File and Compile Report. You're going to choose MS Word for your output format, and you're going to click Compile. And then you'll see some things happen in R, and then this will pop up. And so the nice thing about this is it's saved all of our output in a nice format. So that all looks good. Now I'm going to save this as race output, and it'll end up in the same folder. And that should be fine. And this is going to be the file that we're going to upload for your first lab. So that is all for the RStudio section. We basically opened in our project. We opened our race.r script, we ran it, and then we saved the output. So just as review, the first step after opening RStudio is going to be File, Open File, or File, Open Project. So the correct answer is open project because we're working with this special project format, which means that it is going to set up this folder for us, and then we open the RStudio script file. We're going to be doing a similar set of steps, but in MATLAB. So for this part of the lab, we are again going to start with a zip file on Canvas. So you can go ahead and download that. And then again, I would recommend putting that zip file in your CogNeuro folder. I'm just going to drag this over here, and then I'm going to double click to unzip the file, and then you can throw away the zip file. So in our CogNeuro folder, we now have our CD 2010 folder. It has some MATLAB scripts which end with .m and some more data in the sets folder. The script that we're going to be running is analyzing EEG data, which is a method of measuring brain activity. And so MATLAB has some really nice built-in tools, but for this one, we're going to need some additional packages that we're going to have to download separately. So these may already be installed on the lab computers, but in case they aren't, I'll show you how we would install these additional packages. I would start just by searching for EEG Lab MATLAB. That's the name of the first package that we'll be using. And you can follow this link here. And we're going to download like this, and you can just fill in your name and email address, accept the terms, submit, and then here we're going to download the EEG Lab software package. So for the package, I'm not going to put it in our lab folder, but instead it's going to be in a special place for MATLAB packages. So I would recommend going to your documents folder, and then there may already be a MATLAB folder there. And if not, you can create one just like this, all cap letters. First, we're going to make a folder called EEG Lab. Okay, and then inside of that, we're going to put the zip file. We're going to unzip it, and we're going to throw this one away. Okay. And then the other package we are going to need is called ERP Lab. So I'll just search for that one as well. Let's start here. And we're going to download this package. And again, for this package, it's going to need to be in a special place. So here, it recommends putting it in your MATLAB folder inside the plugins folder of the EEG Lab. So we're going to go here to plugins, then we're going to put that zip file there, we're going to unzip it and throw away that old zip file. Okay, and now we're ready to open MATLAB. So you can go to your applications folder and go to MATLAB. And MATLAB is sometimes slow to open, so just give it a minute. And I have some warnings here, but they're not too big of a deal. And so I've set up my EEG Lab and ERP packages, and to make sure that MATLAB can access them, we want to make sure that it knows the paths to those folders on the computer. So for that, we go to Set Path under the Home tab, and here you can see those EEG Lab folders are listed, which means MATLAB can now use those packages. So that looks good, so we're going to close this. And if you haven't already, you're going to want to make sure that you are in the right folder. So here I'm already in my desktop folder. I'm in the CD 2010 folder. And so this is going to be the script that we're running today. It's the CD 2010.m script. So this may look a little bit different from RStudio, but it's a lot of the same things, just organized a little differently. The command window is kind of like RStudio's console. The workspace is similar to RStudio's environment, and that's where our variables are going to show up. And this is showing the current folder that we're in and the files we have access to. You're going to click on this and you're going to drag it over to the console. And this script is going to take a little bit longer to run than the RStudio one. Some different windows and figures pop up, which is totally normal. For this first lab, you don't need to worry about what a lot of this means. Just want to make sure that it seems similar to what I'm getting on my screen. And sometimes it might not seem like the script is doing anything, but if you're ever not sure, just look down over here and you can see it says busy, and that means that MATLAB is still running the script. Okay, so you'll know that the script is done when it no longer says busy in the corner, and you'll see these little arrows pop up in the command window, and the last line of the script will be the elapsed time, or the amount of time it took to run this script. So as long as you see this at the end, then everything should all be good. And the output that we're going to be saving is this diary.txt file that the script made for us. And so that is going to basically just be the saved output, just like we created in RStudio. So this is going to be the file that you're going to submit on Canvas for the MATLAB portion of this lab. So for this lab, you're going to want to upload that Word doc with the RStudio output, as well as your diary.txt file. So one final review question for MATLAB. MATLAB scripts end in .m, .text, or .mat. So the correct answer is .m. These are our script files. And in order to run it, you just drag it over into here. Alright, so that's it for Lab 1. And I'm looking forward to meeting all of you on Wednesday.